Hello everyone, welcome back. So we have been working on our wood shop, and in our last video we actually talked all about the design, the inspiration, the framing. If you haven't checked out the video, definitely check that out because you're going to be kind of lost in this one if you haven't seen that yet. But today we're actually going to be starting building this thing. So we're going to be starting on the floor framing. So we actually got a delivery of lumber for this project, which is honestly really nice to not have to go to the hardware store and buy like hundreds of pieces of lumber. So yeah, let's go ahead and start at the build, and let's go talk about our pile of wood in our delivery. Okay, so yesterday we actually got a giant shipment of wood. If I had shown this probably about 45 minutes ago, it would have been a little more interesting, but just showing y'all what we got. So we have here one pile of lumber. This is a large pile of 2 by 6 by 16s, and then a bunch of like 2 by 10s, 2 by 12s, all kinds of stuff. Like, we are ready to go and ready to frame out the structure. So of course, whenever you get a big delivery of wood like this, I paid Lowe's to do it, and I was so enthusiastic that we did not have to pick all this up and put it in my truck. It was awesome seeing them bring it to us. But of course, the wood that I needed first are these pressure treated boards that were all the way at the bottom of the pile, and I had to move a ton of boards just to get to them. So that's kind of why we have this mess. And this is actually only the first pile. Let me show you all the second pile. So this right here is actually our second pile of wood. This one also got delivered by Lowe's. This is like a bunch of 2 by 6s, a bunch of like blocking, studs, roof, all of the stuff that we need to get this job done. So we have 2 giant piles of wood, and I think we should have almost everything ready for us so that we can go ahead and build this structure. Okay, so in general, my piers on this side are all good. This one's about 1/8 of an inch too far back, which is fine. And then this one is about 3/8 of an inch back. It's totally okay. These are going to be doubled up, so I'm not really concerned about it in any way. I just wanted to check to make sure nothing's like wonky and I don't need to adjust my measurements. So let's move on to the next pier and beam combinations, and we'll just check it all out. This front is like perfect. Dead on, nothing to worry about. This front's perfect. All right, let's keep moving. Okay, so this side actually does have a slight problem. So we're fine over here, but then this pier actually sticks out a little bit. This one's not perfectly straight. It got a little tilted. So we're just gonna have to accommodate for that in our measurements. Should be fine. It's not that far off, but this is why we check. Let's look at the next one. I don't know if y'all will be able to see this, but this is also our local mockingbird. He quacks. That's what he does. He quacks like a duck. There's actually a few mockingbirds around us, but this guy right here is our local one. You probably can't hear it over my neighbor, but I'll have to insert some sound of him quacking if it's too loud. I just turned the camera off, and there we go. We have 2 of them, actually. They're now both in the tree. This is our couple of mockingbirds. They're friends. They're always together in our yard. The other one's right up here. Yep, there they are.
Okay, so we now have all of the perimeter beams cut to size. Everything is exactly the same measurement on each respective side, and it's all perfectly straight and square. This is super important because like some of my piers were a little off. If you think about our main house, like our piers in some spots are like many inches off, and they just moved the foundation piers to accommodate that. What that means in reality is that your walls inside, all of the trim work, everything has to be custom measured because not a single wall is straight. There's no 90-degree angles, no nothing. Everything is slightly off in the house, and that just like wreaks havoc whenever you want to do like really precise trim work. Just sucks. Granted, I'm not going to do really precise trim work here, but I just don't want to have to like measure every rafter like down to the 16th. I want to just be able to like take one measurement and just duplicate that for the whole thing. So I made sure all of my measurements were exactly right before I put this together because this drives the rest of the construction. So I've got all of that to size. Now I can actually work on assembling that perimeter, and then we can install all of the other things like the girders and beefing those beams up a little bit. So let's get these nailed together in a box, and then I'll show you all the next step. Okay, now that we got the entire perimeter made, now we need to get the two girders that go in the middle. So one right here and then one right here that go all the way back. Need to measure those, size those, and then install them. So let me actually figure out how big these are. I can't remember the measurements. Let me get the measuring tape. Okay, so we now got all of our girders, beams, all the big lumber and all of the big framing pieces for our floor foundation installed. Now, this took a little while. I started on one day and then actually went out of town for many days and came back. And in the meantime, like the frame that I built got rained on, things warped a little bit because I guess they dried out or some pieces got wet in the rain. It's gonna be fine though. I'm going to be able to just kind of like squeeze everything together, probably with some ratchet straps, and install the rest of the framing, and then we should be good to go and perfectly solid, perfectly straight. So I'm pretty sure this is salvageable even though things warped a little bit. But we now got all of the big pieces installed, so let me show you the diagram. So as I mentioned, it did rain. My book unfortunately was also outside, so it got rained on. But we installed all of these big pieces around the perimeter and then right in the middle. And the next step is actually to install the floor joists, so that's all of these small lines. The floor joists are just going to be 2x6s, so they're going to be a whole lot smaller. But still, I got a lot of them to install, so it's not going to be super easy, but we'll get through it. I think what I'm going to do to make this a little bit easier myself too is I'm going to mark everything out, figure out where everything goes, and then I should just be able to do repetitive cuts, like measure the exact same measurement, cut all of my floor joist. So that's what I'm planning on doing. So let me get to measuring, let me get to marking, and then we can cut them and install them. Okay, So one of the main reasons as to why I'm going to mark everything out is the following thing that's going to happen. So typically whenever people build houses these days, they will do the floor framing and everything, and then they will put the subfloor directly on top of that, and then they'll build the walls on top of the subfloor. I just, at a fundamental level, do not agree with that process. That doesn't sit right with me, and mainly because in our bathroom was built that way, where they had floor framing, subfloor, sill plate, floor wall framing. The floor framing was completely rotted and like destroyed. And there were some sections where I just couldn't get it out because literally the walls built on top of it. And that just sucks. Like, that really sucks that you can't remove it if you needed to in the future. So I'm not dealing with that. I'm not going to do it. So the way that I like to construct things is I like to put my sill plate and my wall directly on top of my floor framing. So this 2x6 can kind of represent our sill plate. This is pressure treated. We're not going to use pressure treated, but still, it's the same size. So you can imagine, like, if you put this on top of here, like, good, nice and solid, your wall is not really going anywhere. But then as you come, like, over here, you kind of need to support this. Like, you need to support this edge right here. So that's why I need to mark everything out, because I'm actually going to mark out where my first joist goes. My first joist needs to be, like, right in the middle of this edge, where, like, this is supported on half of the joist, and then the subfloor is going to be supported on the other side. So that's kind of why I'm going to be marking stuff out, and also I can just mark out all my joist locations and everything just to make my life a lot easier. But just wanted to explain that because I sometimes do things that make a lot of sense to me and really help the process, but to someone who's like watching this, or you know, even someone who's familiar with construction, or maybe someone who's not, like, I just sometimes do stuff that makes a lot of sense to me, but I want to make sure that y'all understand why I'm doing everything that I'm doing here. This 2x6 is unfortunately like not the right size. Pressure treated lumber kind of is weird dimensions sometimes, so I'm actually going to do a ruler for all of my marking, but that doesn't really matter too much. That's why I'm marking everything out, and now I can actually get to marking. Okay, so we got all of our joist spacing and everything marked out, and there's one last thing that we need to do before we actually install our joist, and that is straighten out these girders and the beams on the side. So you can kind of see as you like look down the span of this, how it curves. It actually curves a little bit towards me on this side. And then let me show y'all like what it looks like straightened. It's kind of hard for me to see, but you can see how it kind of moves. Really, wood like this, especially pressure treated lumber, warps a lot. Any lumber really that's this long is bound to be warped, so you probably need to pull it straight. I'm gonna pull it straight before I install the joist, but I kind of think that it may still warp. I'm not really sure. This side kind of warps this way, and then the other side actually warps in the opposite direction. So I'm wondering if once I put all the joists in place, it's just gonna kind of hold itself straight. Not exactly sure. If it doesn't, it's possible at the very end to like strap everything together whenever we put our plates on top, and I think that should hold things straight. Or maybe I'm just being ridiculous. Like, maybe this is not that big of a deal, but it does bother me a little bit because I spent a lot of time getting all the measurements exact. But I think what I should do here is just put a ratchet strap across, pull this into place, and then we can start installing our joist. So let me get a ratchet trap and we can try to move this a little bit. Okay, so now we've straightened out our girder and I think we're ready to install all of our joists. So all of our joists along this way should be exactly the same length, so it should be super easy, just a bunch of repetitive cuts, and then we should be able to install all of them going all the way back. I've marked out the first location, and then I got the spacing block, and this is actually how I'm going to space each of them. So I'll install my first one, then I'll use this block, and then the next one will get installed, take the block to the next one, all the way back, 11 here, 11 in the next bay, and then 11 in the next bay after that. So should be fairly easy, should be fairly fast, but we'll see how it goes. But I'm really enthusiastic to start getting this together because I want this to actually start looking like a floor. So let me get all of my wood, and then let's get to installing our joists. Okay. Gosh, we have now installed 2 out of the 3 bays here of joists. So finished my first bay over here, sit in my second bay that I finished, and then we just have our third bay over here, which you can see no joisting quite yet. This is, it's not the worst thing I've ever done. It's not easy. Like, nothing about floor framing is easy. I always find it very frustrating and very hard. Because it's like hard to hold the joists on both ends as one person. It's like also, I haven't even gotten there yet, and I don't even want to think too much about it, but it's difficult to step between each joist and install the joist hanger. That sucks. And then blocking, it's like, it really wears you out. But for right now, I'm doing pretty good. Like, I'm making good progress. It's taken me a few hours to get here, but what can you expect? These things take time. So I finished off two joist bays, need to go on my third one. Unfortunately, I have not cut the lumber for the third one quite yet. I was able to pre-cut all of this lumber for the first 2, but I just didn't get to go to the third bay quite yet. So I need to go get my saw out again, cut all 12 pieces, and then we can get to installing this last bay. It feels nice to sit down, but I think that I need to get back to work. So let me go get the saw, and let's get some joists. All right, and with that, we have installed all of our floor joists. But that's not where it all ends. The fun does not stop there. Oh my God. Actually, the fun never stops. We have to install joist hangers on every single one of these joists. Every single end, every joist, we got to install a ton of joist hangers. Got a whole box full of them. I also have my specialized nail gun for this. I'm so thankful I bought this nail gun. We end up getting a lot of utility out of it because you can imagine in Louisiana, we got hurricanes, you need to strap everything together. So I install a whole lot of these hangers in every part of our house. So thankfully we got the nail gun to speed it up, but that does not change the fact that we have a ton of joist hangers to install. So let's get to it. Let's get it all done, and I'm hoping that we can finish all of these joist hangers by the end of the night. So let's do it. Okay, so for all of you who have not had the distinct pleasure of installing a million joist hangers and ruining your life, this is how you install a joist hanger with positive placement nail gun, but also with a hammer. So basically what you do, you get your joist hanger, and it goes around the joist. And then from there, you put nails in these holes. So you put small nails, 1 and I think a half or 1 3/8 nails in these small holes on the sides. And then on these ones, you put 2.5 inch nails, big nails. If you get a nail gun like this, that means that you probably got to take 2 passes, which means you got to do it twice. That's life. What can you do? But let's install this joist hanger right here with at least the small nails to hold it in place. All right, it's kind of ugly because I just lubed up my nail gun, but yeah, that's how you do it. Now we just do that like 200 more times. Hello everybody. So it's been a few days and I've actually been working off camera on this foundation, but a few things have actually happened since then. Number one thing that happened recently that kind of sucks. I don't actually know if you can see it, but I have this red spot on my neck and it actually extends down onto my chest. And that's because one of my bees just kind of like came out of nowhere and stung me through my bee suit whenever I was checking on them. I need to post an update on the bees because I've done a lot of things actually since I last showed them. But just know that near my cutting station, I actually have 2 colonies. I actually split off one of my colonies, and then half of that colony that I split off swarmed, went into a nearby tree, and then I caught him, got him in another box. But that colony that was left over, like the one that was put into a nucleus box and didn't swarm, they don't have a queen, so they're super annoyed right now. And oh my gosh, I was so annoyed that they stung me directly on my neck. It hurts a lot, actually. Thankfully, I didn't really have too much swelling or anything, and I definitely didn't go into shock or anything, but man, really sucks. I guess I don't know. I don't really know what happened. I kind of think that maybe they came through the leg of my bee suit or something and came all the way up and stung me on the neck. I don't know. Regardless. So that happened. And then also I've been working on this foundation a little bit off camera. So you can kind of see how we actually do have some blocking now. Let me grab the camera and show you all what it actually looks like up close. Basically, what I'm doing here is I'm putting blocking in between each of these so that this entire floor system acts as a system and not just individual pieces of wood. And usually you do mid-span blocking, but I just wanted it to be a little extra steady, so I decided to do on the sides 2, so I guess 1/3 of the way blocking. That leaves me about 20 inches between each of the blocks. And then over here, I'm actually going to do 3 sets of blocking. So I'm going to do 1 right here, 1 right here. And then I'm actually going to do a 3rd one, just kind of in between the 2. And this 3rd one is because this is measured this is my measurement of 8 feet from like the wall, where the wall's going to be. So whenever I go and put my subfloor down, it's going to rest actually right on this line of blocking all the way back. So that's basically what I'm doing. I also installed some blocking over here. Nice and straight, looks good, looks awesome. It's time consuming. Like, it's a super time consuming process. I hate installing blocking. Thankfully I was able to get it all cut, so I have all of the pieces here to do this section. But yeah, all I got to do is install it, but that's been kind of hard recently because it's been raining like every single day. Thankfully it's not raining right now, so I can get out here and do it. So let's get to installing this blocking. All right, so I've kind of gotten my process for blocking down pat. This is unfortunately going to be an exception to the rule, and I'm going to have to alter my process. But basically what I've been doing is I've been taking my blocks, this nail's kind of proud, and then kind of knock them over like so, right in place, and then you kind of alternate hitting it on the sides until it's nice and level. All right, and then that's in place. So now what I've been doing is, since I have access to this side, I've been face nailing this. Got that? And since I don't have access to this side, you just kind of gotta toenail this one, which sucks a little bit, but that's just how it goes. I'm telling you, nothing about blocking is fun. This whole process sucks. It's annoying to walk between the joists. It's really time consuming, so frustrating. It's also annoying because like your floor is already built and you just want to move on. Like your floor is here, it doesn't actually look that different. But it's just part of the process. Part of making a nice, strong, non-bouncy floor. Which we really don't have in our main house. Like the main house has no blocking at all. One day I'm gonna have to go back and do it. It's been like that for like 100 years, but the floor does bounce because of that. So it's good to do it the right way. It just takes time. And yeah, that's just the name of the game. It just takes time to do it. Okay, and with that last block, we are now done with our flooring system. This took a little over a week to do, on and off of working, between the rain, between just everything else, an hour here, an hour there. But we're finally done. I think that this is kind of why blocking bothers me, and now that I've like reflected on it a lot. I built this whole thing in like 2 days. Like the joist, the frame, everything, like 2 straight days, got it done. Had a Sunday, took a Monday off, got it all done, like no issue. The blocking took me like 4 to 5 days of on and off work, just because it's so tedious. It takes so much time. You got to nail everything in. It feels like a giant waste of nails. But ultimately, you know, if you do it right the first time, you do it right in the beginning, you spend that a little bit of extra time, you'll typically be happier with the finished product, and I know that I will be too. It just, it felt like a big time sink. But our next step, we could start standing up the walls, getting this all framed out, and I think we should talk about the walls, but we can do that next time in our next video. I think we can go ahead and wrap up here since we're done with our floor now. So, thank y'all for watching, and tune in next time. Bye-bye.